Throughout history, dogs have been revered as man's best friend. Today, dogs are being seen as more than just a great companion. By accidents, scientists have found that dogs are useful tools in detecting disease such as cancer, diabetes, and even warn of seizures. My speech will cover how research detecting disease using dogs began, how dogs are used in indicating a person has a disease condition, and the different diagnostic processes by which this research is being carried out. Human scientists first became aware of a canine's innate ability to detect disease when a Border Collie Doberman mix began sniffing at a mole on their owner's leg and even tried to bite it off. The owner thought this behavior was strange and decided to check with their dermatologist if there was more to this particular mole. The mole was discovered to be a malignant melanoma. This event was later published in a journal and caught the attention of a retired surgeon named John Church. And this was in Amsterdam, England. Church created a new study that involved 6 household dogs of various breeds. His study involved a 7-month period of time in which these regular dogs were trained to distinguish between urine from cancerous human bladders and those of healthy human bladders. His research found that the dogs were able to detect the cancerous urine 41% of the time. This finding led researchers to believe that cancer cells must give off a metabolic waste product different from other cells, and the keen sense of smell that dogs have can detect this waste product. Dogs have already been used in a variety of occupations, from police dogs sniffing out drugs or bombs to rescue dogs' ability to find survivors in a wreckage or avalanche. Humans have relied on dogs' ability to smell and it's only natural that they should now be used in the medical field. In an article, Going to the Dogs by Karen Birch, she said, depending on the breed, a dog's sense of smell is estimated to be 1 million times better than that of humans. Dogs have been trained to smell chemicals signaling seizures in epileptics and elevated blood sugar levels in those with diabetes. 60 Minutes covered a documentary about Bee, a working Cocker Spaniel. She is one of several dogs that has been specially trained to smell odor associated with cancer. Her particular cancer that she has been trained to detect is bladder cancer. Bee has been trained to lie down next to the urine samples that she smells the cancer in. And in a documentary, she was tested on her capability to detect the bladder cancer and astonished reporters with her correct finding. In another case, a woman's dog detected that she had breast cancer. The woman had it removed, but 3 months later, the dog began sniffing in the same area where the cancer had been. The woman, concerned, returned to the hospital for more testing and found a very small amount of cancer still remained. Although the accuracy is impressive in the dog's ability to detect cancer, they have not been used to replace expensive diagnostic equipment as of yet. However, dogs have been found to be very valuable to individuals who suffer from diabetes. One such story involves Paul Jackson, who suffered from type 2 diabetes. Because his body cannot produce insulin, he is in constant danger of having a hypoglycemic attack. He first noticed that his dog was aware of his hypoglycemic attacks by jumping up on his lap and licking his face before the attacks occurred. His dog would also perform the same behavior during the attack. This led Paul's dog, Tinker, to be trained as a hypo-alert dog and now accompanies Paul everywhere, allowing him to have more freedom. Another impressive story is about a woman named Kimberlyn who trains dogs and is also diabetic. She trained her dog Rory to detect her hypoglycemic attacks by capturing her breath in a bottle during an attack, then simulating the attack by opening the bottle. Rory responded to these tests by jumping in her lap and licking her face and retrieving her insulin kit. Dogs have also been trained to detect seizures by smelling chemicals that signal the episodes in epileptics. Because of a dog's innate capability to smell, researchers are using them to detect diseases by smelling the captured breath of patients with breast and lung cancer. In these tests, the breath is caught in a tube. Researchers are finding that the results range from early to late stage of cancer detection. Urine samples are another way that dogs can test for positive results in cancer and diabetes. In these tests, the dogs are given multiple blind and control samples to detect the disease and are trained to go and lie down next to the disease sample. Researchers, quote, believe that the dogs were able to sense some type of unidentified chemical that the bladder cancer cells released into the urine, end quote. Researchers have also found that dogs can detect cancer in feces. In a case of a Labrador, out of 185 patients, With and without cancer, the dog was 97% accurate in detecting colorectal cancer. Quote, the dog even beat fecal occult blood tests, which positively predict colorectal cancer only 10% of the time. End quote. That was by Karen Bush. With all the tests the researchers have done so far with using dogs to detect for cancer, they believe that the dogs can be a wonderful asset to the medical field in the future, and early experiments show a high success rate. Beginning with a pet's keen awareness of its owner's cancerous mole, researchers have been led to find that through the olfactory sensory ability of dogs, through testing of breath, urine, and feces, conclude that these dogs are useful tools in diagnosing diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and can even warn of seizures. Many organizations are currently working towards designing machines that could mimic amazing sensory ability of dogs in detecting disease. I will be interested to see where these technologies lead in the future in the medical field.